Our lead story tonight, the latest on what's happening in India with COVID. Once the world success story just a few months ago, India is now leading the average daily cases globally. Although totally India is still third at 12.5 million, just behind Brazil's 12.9 million total cases, we can see that with the daily average, we're now topping the cases. Meanwhile, let's just look at why India's second peak is actually much scarier than the first. With over 1 lakh fresh COVID cases, India has seen the biggest ever daily surge, the highest globally in the last 24 hours. Also, 478 deaths in the last 24 hours, exceeded only by Brazil, which saw over 1,200 deaths. India reached this grim milestone of 1 lakh daily cases for the first time. In September 17th, we were under 1 lakh, and April 5th, we can see we're now over 1 lakh. And what's worrying is that the infection is spreading much faster in the second wave of COVID infections. While it took 109 days for the number of cases to rise from about 8,000 to over 97,000 during the first wave, it has only taken half of that, 58 days, for the number of cases to cross the 1 lakh mark in the second wave, which effectively began in the beginning of February, when India was recording just over 8,000 cases a day. The biggest impact, of course, is in Maharashtra, India's state which provides the most GDP, which contributes the most for India's GDP. And today, India's financial capital, Mumbai, has shut down.
A day before the virtual lockdown in Mumbai, commercial hub Bandra Kurla, where the country's biggest corporate houses are headquartered, is almost empty. From tomorrow, only those permitted by the government, like bank employees and medical staff, will come into work. The only cars parked here belong to the bank, considered an essential service.
सिर्फ और सिर्फ उन प्राइवेट दफ्तरों को खोलने की इजाज़त होगी जहां पर जो बैंक से जुड़े हुए हैं या अत्यावश्यक सेवाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं, जिसमें स्टॉक ट्रेडिंग भी शामिल है. तो बीकेसी में बहुत सारे लोगों को शायद काम करने की इजाज़त मिलेगी क्योंकि वो बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं.
But what happens to those who depend on this complex for their daily wages?
50 रुपए का धंधा किया मैं 9 बजे से.
50 रुपए का
धंधा है ही नहीं, कहीं भी रोड पे चले जाओ पब्लिक है ही नहीं, बहुत परेशान है. फिर भूखा गरीब आदमी फिर भूखा मरे.
Small traders are also worried. Already facing a downturn, they feel the lockdown will destroy their businesses.
Business is totally gone down. Totally, यानी you can say 75% business has gone down.
7 बजे पब्लिक भाग जाती है सब.
नहीं आ रही
नहीं, पब्लिक नहीं आती है. 1 मार्च से तो धंधा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है.
कितने का नुकसान हो रहा है?
सारा ही नुकसान है.
India's financial capital once again at a crossroads, with businessmen and industries worried if they can face yet another economic shock. With Purva Chitnis and Abhishek Sharma in Mumbai, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Let's go across live now to Saurabh, who is at Princess Street flyover. Saurabh, now the second lockdown we are now seeing in India's financial capital. What is the impact of it as 8 o'clock, the curfew, the night curfew has just begun?
Absolutely, Sonia, and let me give you a visual of Marine Drive, the Queen's Necklace as we know it. And there is traffic though, but one would say much less than what normally one would see at 8 p.m. Also, we've just seen the police van clear out the promenade. So anyone who was on the promenade for a walk has been cleared out. There is some traffic, but one presumes that today is the first day and this is traffic that's going home. You can see in the distance actually that police vehicle with the with the lights, that's actually clearing people if they see them on the promenade, which is Marine Drive. Very thin traffic by Mumbai standards, and even though to someone who's watching from the outside this might seem quite a lot of traffic, but this is very thin at 8 p.m. on Marine Drive, and that's perhaps the impact the people are looking for. On the other side also, my colleague Purva is at Chowpatty a few meters down this road, and there also the police have cleared out everyone. So at the promenades, at the beaches, people are being cleared out, and perhaps from tomorrow when we see that full impact, there will be even less cars on the road at this point of time.
Saurabh, so let's just look also there, we made that point about how markets, the India's commercial capital. So today, as Mumbai's mini lockdown came into place, the Sensex Nifty plunged as investors, of course, worried about growth, with India now seeing 1 lakh plus rise in cases. But of course, it's just not Maharashtra. 11 states and union territories of grave concern, and the worry now in Delhi as well, where in just the last week, patients' admissions in ICUs have gone up 3 times.
COVID patients in the ICU of a major Delhi government hospital. A week ago, there were only 254 such patients in all of Delhi. That number's more than doubled to almost 650. Those needing ventilators have almost doubled to about 470. The pace at which so many are requiring critical care is putting pressure on doctors, nurses and other healthcare staff.
When the number of patients increase, see, the COVID is a disease. When the patient is admitted, it requires a lot of intensive work and intensive care, patient care.
मेंटली तो उनको प्रिपेयर होना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि ड्यूटी तो करनी है उनको, है ना, वो रिफ्यूज़ नहीं कर सकती ड्यूटी के लिए। लेकिन ये है कि थोड़ा उनको भी रिस्क रहता है, फैमिली से अटैच है, उधर फैमिली में भी जाना पड़ता है, तो रिस्क तो है उनको, लेकिन लेते हैं सारा प्रिकॉशन।
Actually, it was just last month only the COVID rate was decreasing. No, that time it was just we were able to stop all those things which we were having around 11 departments earlier for COVID only. Now it has been reduced to 4-5.
The private hospitals have started to enhance their infrastructure to prepare for the rise in cases.
We now know how to upscale infrastructure at a very short interval of time, and all the logistics which goes along with PPE, the training of manpower, all that has been done in last 1 year.
Funeral staff at this crematorium have their grim forecast.
उस टाइम जब जनवरी में कम हुआ था तो उस टाइम तो बहुत अच्छा हो गया था, बल्कि 95% कंट्रोल आ गया था और हमारे पास हफ्ते में कभी 1 कभी 2 बॉडियाँ आती थी। अभी तो बढ़ गया है, आगे का बता नहीं सकते, अभी तो इतना खास नहीं है। अब तो हमारे पास रोज की 2 या 3 बॉडियां हैं।
If anything, the waves of COVID-19 has taught us in the national capital is that this is a long-drawn war against this virus, and people must take all the precautions in terms of COVID-appropriate behavior to break the chain of transmission, and that is the best way to help even our healthcare workers. With camera person Sushil Rathi, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
So vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. What are the latest numbers? Well, India has crossed 8 crore vaccinations as of today. Over 66 crore vaccinations worldwide. India is currently in the top 3 ahead of the United Kingdom in vaccinations. But here's the worry that our rate is still extremely low. So if you look at the share of people who received at least 1 dose of the vaccine globally, well, as we can see there, India is below 5%. So we really need to scale up this rate of vaccination. And today, the Delhi Chief Minister has written to the Prime Minister saying that open up vaccinations to all age barriers should be removed from vaccinations. It should also be allowed in non-healthcare facilities such as schools and community centres. This as the AAP had a press conference today attacking the Modi government, saying why is it that more vaccine doses have actually been exported to other countries than have been given to Indians at home.
It will take 15 years to vaccinate the entire population of India if India continues at the current inoculation rate. ये सरकार जो नेशनलिज्म की बात करती है, मैं उनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि 56 इंच की मोदी सरकार की वैक्सीनेशन नेशनलिज्म कहां है? टीकाकरण का राष्ट्रवाद कहां खो गया आपका?
Moving to other big headlines, and the first, of course, is the tragic deaths of 22 Jawans. We remember them with a heavy heart and, of course, condolences to their families. 22 brave young soldiers who laid down their lives. They were killed in a Naxal ambush. The Home Minister Amit Shah has flown to Chhattisgarh. He's having review meetings and meeting the injured Jawans. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi has said that was there an intelligence failure? Why are Jawans being used as cannon fodder? As Home Minister Amit Shah said, this war will now be taken to its logical end.
An injured security personal's message just as he was evacuated from the encounter site, where 22 of his colleagues were killed in a Naxal ambush.
मैं अनिल कुमार दुबे, आपका भाई, आपका बेटा, आपका भतीजा, हमारे बहुत सारे दोस्त मारे गए हैं, कुछ बचे हुए हैं जो जा रहे हैं इलाज के लिए.
In Jagdalpur, the Union Home Minister flew down for tributes and promising the end of Naxal terror. This was the second major attack in 10 days.
ये लड़ाई में अंत में नक्सलवादियों के खिलाफ हमारी विजय निश्चित है.
But what led to one of the worst ever assault on security forces by the Maoists in recent past?
Our sources said that the presence of two top guerrilla leaders, Hidma and Sujata, in the Jagargunda-Jonaguda Tarem belt was a trap.
Up to 2,000 personnel from 6 camps were mobilized to intercept the outlaw duo. Hidma, in his early 30s, carries a cash reward of 40 lakh rupees and is suspected to be behind several such attacks, including the one on March 11 in Sukma, in which 25 CRPF personnel were killed in action, and the May 2013 one in Jiram Valley. Once one of the teams reached the spot, some 400 Maoists encircled the security personnel from 3 sides in a U-shaped attack. A heavy gun battle ensued in the jungle, and while the forces fought back with all their might, they suffered huge losses due to the ultras' tactical advantage.
हम लोग जो थे वो करीब 400 आसपास में थे, और जब हम लोग पता है ना कि उनको सारी खबर हमारी सारी खबर मिल रही थी उनको हर तरीके से, जो उनकी सिविल टीम जो रेकी करती है, जो गांव वाले थे या जो महिलाएं थी, वो सारी हमारी जहाँ भी जो भी लोकेशंस थी वो सब अपने तरीके से रिवील कर रहे थे. जो है
वेपन, ऐसा जानकारी में आ रहा है कि वेपन उनके द्वारा रॉकेट लॉन्चर भी यूज किया गया है और हैंड ग्रेनेड भी यूज किए गए हैं.
However, the Congress chief minister was contradicted by his party leader Rahul Gandhi, even though the CRPF chief also said there was no intelligence failure.
बिल्कुल चूक नहीं है, ये कोई कैंप में हमला नहीं हुआ है, इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर नहीं है.
Rahul Gandhi, however, tweeted, if there was no intelligence failure, then a 1:1 death ratio means it was a poorly designed and incompetently executed operation. Our Jawans were not cannon fodder to be martyred at will. With Anurag Dwari, Joshua Chin for NDTV.
Well, the other big headline, amid this COVID crisis in Maharashtra, the politics hasn't stopped. The Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh resigned after the Bombay High Court approved a CBI probe into the explosive allegations by the former Police Commissioner Parambir Singh, who said that the Home Minister was asking for bribes for police transfers. The court has asked the CBI to complete a first inquiry in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, however, the Maharashtra government is going to the Supreme Court, even though the Home Minister resigned today, claiming moral grounds. The BJP says the Chief Minister must now resign.
For weeks, Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh refused to resign after ex-Mumbai police chief accused him of demanding 100 crore rupees a month as extortion. But today, Deshmukh resigned within hours of the Bombay High Court ordering a preliminary inquiry.
ये अनिल देशमुख का इस्तीफा है. इसमें क्या कहा गया है? मैं नैतिक आधार पे इस्तीफा दे रहा हूं. ये बड़े शब्द बड़े रोचक लगे मुझे. हैं? मुख्यमंत्री जी, आपकी कोई नैतिकता है कि नहीं?
The NCP chief and the chief minister had both thrown rejected demands for Deshmukh's resignation. The quick move appeared to have caught the BJP off guard.
इस पूरे मामले के सारे षड्यंत्र की जांच होनी चाहिए. कौन किसको प्रश्रय दे रहा था, कौन किसको प्रोत्साहित कर रहा था और कौन किसको बचा रहा था.
The Bombay High Court has asked the CBI for a report in 15 days. Parambir Singh refused to comment on the court's decision.
Bombay High Court ने आखिर CBI का आदेश दे दिया है. CBI जांच का.
No, I have no comments to make. The Bombay High Court has effectively paved the way for a CBI probe in the case, but it has left it to the CBI to decide on whether there is a cognizable case or not after its preliminary inquiry. But given the evidence already on record and the impending political ramifications of the case, the CBI, experts say, already has enough material to file a cognizable case, which is likely to be the conclusion.
The alliance partners Shiv Sena or Congress not yet reacted on this development, but a week ago, Sena mouthpiece Samna criticized Anil Deshmukh and said he got the post by accident, although the NCP's Pawar got him to continue. In Mumbai, with Saurabh Gupta, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
Interestingly, the new Home Minister Dilip Walse Patel started his career as PA to NCP strongman Sharad Pawar. Meanwhile, while this argument is on about corruption, French media has reported that a French auditor's report has said that €1 million were paid to Rafale middlemen. The Congress and BJP now trading charges.
This model of a Rafale fighter outside the residence of the air chief is believed to be one among 50 such models which Dassault, the Rafale jet manufacturer, ordered from a small Indian defense company whose owner Sushen Gupta is being probed in the Augusta Westland helicopter scam. Dassault's order of these models isn't strange. What remains unexplained though is the cost, 20,000 euros per piece, or 17.27 lakh rupees, at which the company ordered these models, and how the French anti-corruption agency never highlighted this in its audit of Dassault or reported it to the country's prosecutor, despite these being listed as gifts to clients. In their series of reports, the French website Mediapart says the agency's inspectors found that Dassault had agreed to pay €1 million to a middleman just after the 2016 signing of the Rafale fighter jet deal. That middleman is now accused of money laundering in India in another defense deal. However, in an interview to NDTV, the author of the report says Mediapart has no knowledge of whether this middleman actually paid off someone to facilitate some part of the €7.8 billion Rafale deal.
Again, I'm just a reporter, so I try to do my best to find information. But, I don't want to speculate about the stuff that I cannot prove. When can I prove something, I write it.
The Congress, which has fought the last elections on the plank of a corrupt Rafale deal, wants an investigation.
देश के सबसे बड़े रक्षा सौदे में कमीशन खोरी और बिचौलियों की मौजूदगी और रिश्वतखोरी के इल्जामात की पूरी निष्पक्ष जांच नहीं होनी चाहिए।
The BJP says the Congress knows the alleged middleman Sushen Gupta all too well.
सबसे मजेदार बात यह है कि उसने सुशेन गुप्ता का नाम लिया है। ये सुशेन गुप्ता कौन है? तो सलमान खुर्शीद ने तो पब्लिकली कहा है कि हम इसके परिवार को जानते हैं।
Gupta, who runs DefSys Solutions, has been investigated by both the CBI and Enforcement Directorate in the Augusta Westland VVIP helicopter scam and was arrested on money laundering charges. He's alleged to have illegally acquired Defense Ministry documents. He's out on bail. The Indian Air Force isn't commenting on the French report for now. With Arvind Gunasekara, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Well, moving to elections, 4 states voting actually ends tomorrow. But in Assam, fresh controversy overwhelmed the Election Commission and voting, because Ratnadeep has these details. Ratnadeep, how can this be that in one polling station there are only 90 voters, but 181 votes have been cast?
That's right, Sonia. It's not only bizarre, but it raises serious question on the way polling has been conducted, because it comes close on the heels of the EVM issue. Remember, on 1st of April during the second phase pollings, after the polling got over, polling officials actually hitched a lift from a private vehicle to reach the collection center where the polled EVMs are collected, and that vehicle happened to be a vehicle of a BJP candidate, and then the polling officials were suspended and repoll ordered. And now this fresh case where Election Commission has suspended 6 polling officials in Dima Hasao district, which is a remote hill district, where in a polling station, auxiliary polling station, where there were only 90 voters, but 181 polling took place. So it's just the double of the total number of voters. Now what Election Commission sources are telling us is that they have found out that since the main polling station was bifurcated into 2 different polling stations, but the voters, they claim, had insisted that they will poll in one polling station. But even if the voters have insisted, how come the presiding officer of that polling station or the sector officer had allowed this to happen? So these are serious questions which perhaps the EC has to answer. However, now the EC has suspended 6 of the 6 polling personnels, and what we are picking up from EC sources is that
exactly, how do you actually answer to have double the number of voters, and why is it that all these reports are only coming out of Assam? So the opposition is likely to again raise a controversy over that, and some very valid questions there. But as we said, elections in 4 states ending tomorrow, including Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam and Puducherry. So a heated battle for the states. Watch that live coverage of voting tomorrow on NDTV. But of course, an election which is not ending, and that's really being seen as a national battle, is the battle for Bengal. Today it was the battle for Tollygunj in Kolkata, where the BJP president JP Nadda was there campaigning for candidate Babul Supriyo. But so was Bengal's Guddi Jaya Bachchan there, also campaigning for the TMC candidate. She said she's there because Mamata Banerjee is a single woman fighting all alone and she must support her.
Jaya ji, कैसे हैं?
आप कैसे हैं?
बहुत बढ़िया, आखिरकार आपको आना ही पड़ गया।
नहीं आना ही था।
और आया तो आप बहुत मजबूती से आई हैं।
जी
बहुत मजबूती से आई हैं आप।
बिल्कुल।
और बहुत अच्छी तरह डिफेंड किया आपने।
जो सच है उसे डिफेंड करना ही पड़ेगा।
और आपको लगता है कि ममता बनर्जी अकेली लड़ाई लड़ रही हैं?
बिल्कुल, उनकी पार्टी के साथ और हमारे समाजवादी पार्टी के साथ वो अकेले ही लड़ रही हैं।
और आप सबका साथ उनको मिलना चाहिए।
बिल्कुल मिलना चाहिए, बिल्कुल मिलना चाहिए।
जया जी को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से बहुत सालों से जानता हूँ। बंगाल में वो तृणमूल के खिलाफ, तृणमूल के लिए प्रचार करने आएंगे, इसमें कोई वो नहीं है। लेकिन एक चीज आप देख लेना, तृणमूल को जिताने के लिए वो कहेंगे, बीजेपी के खिलाफ भी बोलेंगे, लेकिन बाबुल सुप्रियो के खिलाफ भी कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे। ये मैं आपको यकीन के साथ कहता हूँ।
One daughter of Bengal come to fight for another daughter of Bengal, Jaya Bachchan for Mamata Banerjee. She is not just a Samajwadi MP come to campaign for the Bengal Chief Minister. She is someone with old links to Bengal. Her first movie, Mohanagar, Satyajit Ray, came from Kolkata, and then she's remembered for Dhoni Mein, a film in which she was a tomboy. Her contribution to Mamata's campaign is likely to be make or break, but she has to contend against Mithun Chakrabarti.